Welcome to the Point Podcast. I'm your host, Rinn, and today I have two guests here. Mr. Frank Fodor, owner of Modern Medical Supplies, the company he started in 1974, and Jeremy Frank, his partner and nephew, who joined the company in 2009. I'm so excited to have these two gentlemen share their success and experience, not in the medical field, but as a long-term real estate investors. Both dedicated investors, and that is the reason I invited them. I didn't want anybody to talk to who is flipping and buying properties and selling them. But let me give you a little bit of background. Let me start with Frank. But Frank is my fellow countryman. He was born in Hungary and came to the US in 1957. And he settled in LA and had a wonderful marriage to Rosa, his wife, for about 40 years. Unfortunately, Rosa passed away about 4 years ago. Now, Jeremy has been a partner in Modern Medical since 2009, and he's happily married and he has 5 wonderful children. He lives in Thousand Oaks. And Jeremy started investing with single family homes and have moved.
I can't hear anything.
Onto small multi-family units and has been investing since 2017. Now, I just searched this morning, which was very, very interesting, that a record number of investors bought properties last year. In fact, it is an increase of 78% increase from last year, the investors who bought properties, which is absolutely incredible. But what really amazed me is that less than 10% of Americans have a second or an investment property. And the only answer I have is they don't believe in real estate as an investment, and which is tragic because I think real estate outperforms stocks and IRAs and 401ks at least 3 to 4. So, and grows faster, but at 3 to 4 times faster than those. So we know that real estate is not only just a roof over your head, but real estate is also the best and the fastest path to wealth creation without saving money. So let me ask you, Frank, let me start with you. Tell us, when did you start investing in real estate and why?
Well, I started in 1967 buying my first house. My wife talked me into it, and it was a great experience. We had to fix it up. Everything cost me $21,000. The same house. Yeah, the same house today sells about $745,000.
There you go. And now, how long did you live in that house? Did you turn that one into a rental, or you sold it and you bought another one?
No, I sold it about 10 years later, and I purchased another house that was $78,000. And the first one I sold it for 45. And then
right?
Yeah, and I used the profit, as a down payment on the other house. And so that house probably worth around 800, 900,000 now. And later on, I sold it. I bought another house in Chatsworth, and where I am living now.
Mm-hmm.
And that cost me about $750, and now worth about $1.1 million, $1.2 million.
So real estate
houses, but meantime I had some other investment when I had money.
Mm-hmm.
I purchased a condominium at Mammoth Lakes, and I sold it. I made some money on it, and I bought with friends like 2 houses in a lot in Sun Valley, and it was around 120,000. And then they wanted to get out. I paid them off. So it cost me about 280. And I sold it about 4 years ago for $500,000.
Right.
Just I carried the first loan, 475,000 for 3 years. They just paid me off, and I bought some other properties in Las Vegas when I had money, and I just sold one recently for $700,000, and I put together all this money and I purchased a 4-unit townhomes for $810,000, which is all paid off. So now I'm collecting rent. Just closed in September, and I have some other properties. I have 3 other 4-unit buildings, and I have a townhome 1 unit, which is also rented. So it took time. I progressed and I enjoyed it. I could use the money. I used it in Europe about 3 times with the family. I traveled Hawaii about 3-4 times. I traveled to Mexico, and now this week going to Costa Rica.
So, Frank, beside that real estate was good to you in the respect that you made money, and it gives you the opportunity to be able to travel and do whatever you want. But these properties, I mean, initially you just bought a single family home for yourself, correct?
Yes.
When you started out in 1967. Now, what changed your mind when you started to rent these properties out? What did you realize? Did you realize that the real estate, you can buy real estate and the renter will pay off the mortgage for you? Or did you just wanted another property just to look at?
No, I enjoyed investing because that's the only way you can make something. You make a down payment and you collect usually enough rent to make the payments, and the value of the real estate increases. And you don't even realize it until you try to sell it, actually how much you make.
Yeah, very few people really understand the return on their money. Even when I talk to just homeowners and I ask them, do you know how much money you made on the real estate? And they have no idea. Okay, Frank, thank you very much. I will come back to you, but let me ask Jeremy a couple of things. Jeremy, you said, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You said that you started to invest in 2017.
Correct.
Okay. Now, was Frank responsible that you got into investing in real estate, or you had some other reasons?
No, not initially. Actually, I purchased my first house back in 2007, not even realizing the power of real estate and what it can do for you financially. I'm on my 7th primary house. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So again, not even knowing at the time, I purchased a house, I put down 20% for the primary, and again, not even knowing, I would fix it up with my wife. We would be there for about 2 years and put on the market, get a nice return, made money on it, and then put that down payment on another house. And we've continuously been doing that for the past 10 years now, or whatever it may be. My family has grown, so my needs have grown. So each house we fixed up and we moved on to a bigger house. I don't want to move again. I've moved enough. But to answer your question, my first investment property was in Northern California, and my father-in-law, he was investing in the Roanoke Park area, and he was renting out to students. And I wanted another source of income, another revenue stream. So I decided to invest in single family by the university up there, and that's how I got started.
It's really amazing because very, very few people understands the 5 economic benefits that real estate has. It's basically when you purchase it, you can buy it with 3%, 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever down payment you choose, even zero down payment programs available today, right? Now, if you live in a couple of years, as you said, you live in a couple of years, I don't know if you know, but the average appreciation, according to the Department of Real Estate, for the last, I think, 40 years in LA is 7.3%. But even if you just calculate 5% interest appreciation rate, 2 years later, if you buy something for 600, with 5%, it will be 630,000 and 680,000 plus you pay down the mortgage. You can get enough money out of it that you buy another one. Now that's very, very smart. Now it sounds like you're becoming a real whiz on investing property. Now, do you still invest with, or is your father-in-law still helping you purchase properties, or?
Well, I still have 4 single families up north in Roanoke Park. I started investing in small multifamily in Las Vegas because of my uncle. And I also have a duplex in North Carolina with my brother. So it really pays to know someone who has invested in, specific areas and to have those the boots on the ground. That way you have someone there that looks after the property, that it just has the eyes on the property when you're not able to be there. So my father-in-law, he has a property management company up north, so he takes care of that.
That's great.
Yeah, Frank has been in Vegas for a long time, so that's why I decided to go there. And then my brother lives in North Carolina, and that's why I'm invested out there as well.
Now, when you purchase a property or you're looking to buy something, do you look at cap rates, or obviously you're buying it for investment, you look at cap rates, or what's more important, the cap rate or the rate of return?
Really the rate of return.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm looking on, how much cash I need to put down, how much cash I can get on the return of it, how much money I need to put into it, and what the rental rates are, and where they're going.
As I mentioned before, it's very, very interesting that less than 10% of the population have a second home or an investment property. And I just, try to figure out why. And I believe that they just don't see the value of real estate when, as I said, the real estate outperforms stocks at least 3 to 4 times. And I can prove it to anybody because we have the statistics. Okay. When somebody wants to, this is for the people who are going to listen to this podcast. If there is a new investor and they would like to start with real estate, what would you recommend for them to do? You already mentioned a couple of things, that to have somebody there and know the area and they can look at the property and so forth. But what else would you recommend for those people to do to kind of have a little bit better security of what they're doing and how they're doing?
I would recommend, doing what we're doing right now. Listen to podcasts, go on YouTube, get information. It's all over the internet. You could even go to meetup groups. They have those, different cities, different markets. Just get as much information as you can. Talk to people, talk to people in the industry. So, I mean, there's a wealth of information out there. It's just a matter of how you want to obtain it.
Everything is available. Everything is available online today.
Right.
I was talking to my granddaughter the other day. She just got married. She's 22, and we talked about real estate. Well, they renting, but we talked about real estate, and it was interesting because I asked her if she wants to buy a car. Where does she go first? Go to the dealership or talk to friends? And she said, "Oh, I look it up on my phone." They don't do it the way perhaps Frank and I used to do it, or even you. Okay, Jeremy, that was very, very, very good information. So let me ask Frank now, because I don't want him to, he thinks that I'm neglecting him. Frank, can you tell me that do you believe that real estate is a recession-proof investment? And if you do, why?
Well, there is a certain amount of properties, and you cannot create more land. There is a limited. So if you want to get something nice or something, you have to pay for it. And I advise everybody to look for a good real estate agent who does some work for you, and he can tell you why this area is good for
Growth, right.
to do something, or not. And he can help you, what kind of return you can expect or what you have to do. So this can be increased in value. And usually I have a good agent in Las Vegas, and I used him all the time. He said I am one of his best customers.
I'm not surprised. Frank, when I said the recession proof, you remember, and you've been investing during the meltdown in 2007, 8, and 9. Did you have any problems with your investment if they were rented out?
Yeah, sometimes you have problems, but what's over here in LA is the rent control. And they can tell you, how much you can increase your rent, but they don't tell you, how much you can spend to fix it up. And they come there and they say, oh, this has to be fixed, this has to be fixed. You get 30 days or 45 days. In Las Vegas, it's different.
So you prefer to invest in Vegas, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's different because if you don't like the tenant, they destroy your property or they don't pay rent, you have the remedy to solve the problem, And that's why, I like to invest more in Vegas.
But Frank, basically my question was about recession proof. And you remember what happened in 2007 and 8 and 9. Property values, stocks, and everything lost anywhere between 30 to 50 to 60% value, right?
Well, what happens is you have to wait out that period because, real estate market can go down or can go up.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I don't want to butt in, but that's what I'm saying. But you had it rented out. It didn't matter if the value went down because you're still getting the same rent.
Yeah. So actually, you didn't make that much profit or something, but you didn't suffer because you had a sufficient down payment, and you still could have a decent place to rent. Certain times, you have to wait out, and then the real estate turns around.
Right. Now, what I was saying that the 80, I just got this news that 63.700 billion was spent last year on investment properties. Now, don't forget, there are some huge corporations who buying properties, and they're sometimes even overpaying the price because they're only looking for a 4 or 5% return, and they know there will be some appreciation most likely. So they buy. But that will create, in the experts' opinion, that a lot of property will come up for rent next year. So which could put a little damper on the rental returns, but at the same token, some other experts, they don't buy this. Like, the Irvine company in Orange County, they have a 10% rent increase built into all the leases. So the rents always just keep going up. All right. Well, thank you, Frank. Let me ask Jeremy another question.
Yeah.
Jeremy, we've seen price increases in the Los Angeles area anywhere in the last 2-3 years, anywhere from 12% to 25%. I believe the highest increase area was Riverside County and around the Inland Empire, San Bernardino. But the prices increase like this, it's almost impossible for some people to qualify for mortgage. And we're lucky that we have historically the lowest rates ever at the moment. But if the rates go up, obviously it put a lot of people out of reach to buy a home. So how you feel about these incredible price increases in real estate for the future investments?
Well, the problem is that with the low interest rates, it does become more affordable to buy a more expensive home. But with the lack of inventory, it's hard to get that house. If interest rates were to go up, I feel like real estate, the value of the real estate would go down. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And again, with so much money from the government that's out in the economy right now, I don't know if the prices really will go that far down. It's hard to be in LA. LA is, it's a prime market and prices are expensive. If you're a first-time home buyer, you're going to have a tough time. So, unless you find, that fixer-upper that no one wants to touch, it's difficult, Well,
there are always people like that. I never forget, I had a client who bought a house in Manhattan Beach. And that it was on the market for a number of years because the foundation was totally gone and everything. And he got it, it was a few years ago, he got about $350,000. Well, somehow he managed to fix up the foundation and the property worth not $2 million. So, it goes both ways. There are always people who are willing to risk perhaps even their money. Well, Frank and Jeremy, I just wanted to thank you. You give us a wealth of information, and I just hope the listeners will pick up something and learn that real estate is not only a roof over your head, but it's also the best investment. I would say the safest and the best investment to create wealth and retirement income. Because if you 35, 40 years old and you buy a property, we have programs that can teach you how to create $5-10 million worth of value with real estate without really saving money. Because 80% of the people in the United States have struggled. They don't know how to save. But when you buy a property, whether you pay mortgage or whether you pay rent, you still have to pay it, right? But with rent, it can only go up. But your mortgage is fixed, and after, as we talked about it, after 2-3 years, you can sell it or rent it, or you can do anything with it. It has, in other words, real estate has utility value, which stocks and bonds they don't have. So I just wanted to thank you, both of you. I learned a lot from you. Maybe I should buy some more properties myself. But I just wish that the listeners will understand that real estate is the best and the fastest way to create wealth. So thank you again, and I'm going to stop the recording, okay?